Everybody, welcome to Spurs9501. I've got Cam and I've got a very special guest with me today. I've got Bob Spur from Bobspur TV. How you doing, Bob?
Very well, thank you. We're out of the heartbreak of watching Spurs lose or putting up really crap performances every week. So no,
Yeah,
no, it's certainly good, certainly good.
yeah. So Bob's got one of the newest channels around doing a really good job, some great content out there. Bob, why don't you tell all the viewers and the fans about your channel and how it's going?
Yeah, I'm started off. I think it was about 3 months ago, um, and it was just basically. I'll cut a long story short. I've been recovering from an operation and watching We Are Tottenham TV, who are obviously the leaders within the YouTube world. And I went on there a couple of times, gave my views, and got great feedback. And I thought, I'm sat at home doing nothing. Let's just start up a little stream. And it was just a hobby. And to be fair, it's still a hobby.
Yeah,
It's at night when we've got nothing to do. 9:30 in the evening. Partners watching her stuff, and I'm just for me, it's just going online and speaking to a couple of mates who happen to be Spurs supporters. And if you can do that as a hobby and escape, a bit of escapism for an hour or so, then it's ideal. But the feedback I've got is absolutely fantastic. I've hit 500 plus subs now, and it's going from strength to strength. And I'm sure you guys can relate to it. The more you do it, the more ideas you come out with, the more ideas you get with regards to how to make it better. I started doing a regular show the day after the day before, which always I did a day after a Spurs game, because everything can be very, very emotional and raw and in the moment straight after a game. So I thought, let's do one after the following day when everyone's calmed down a bit and looked at the bigger picture. And that I have to say has been the best show that I've done. And typically we've got no shows now, so yeah, content's coming up. Flitting around with some ideas, but for me, like I say, Ray, it's just a hobby, mate, and I'm
yeah,
thoroughly enjoying it. It's speaking to, for me, you're sitting in a room talking to some mates about the thing you love most to watch. Make sure she wasn't listening. Thing you love most, Spurs.
No, I mean, listen, guys, I've seen Bob's channel. The content's great. When you go over there after and just make sure you subscribe to his channel, get all the alerts, watch all his great videos. You get some really great content. So, Bob, we know you're passionate about Tottenham. Let's talk about some stuff about Tottenham now.
Mm.
All these rumours going around about, and Cam can come in as well, about Poch coming. What do you think about Poch coming back? Do you think that's a possibility? And what do you feel about that?
I mean, it could be, but I don't know what you guys think, and I just find it all very embarrassing. In
Yeah,
the space of a few hours, we had Martinez as favourite. We've got Pochettino as favourite, or vice versa. I don't know how it worked out, but for me, it's just we don't have a definitive manager there. Potter was there for a couple of days, and you know, Mr. XG, the fifth best XG in the whole league. But I find it very hard for him to come to Tottenham and go walk into the changing room and say, right, guys, yes, I know I finished towards the bottom of the league the last two seasons with Brighton, but we've got great XG.
yeah,
Let's go.
yeah,
Let's go fourth place. It just doesn't sit right with me. Same with Parker. I know I've been relegated with the team, but come on, guys, fourth place.
yeah.
So it has to be someone big. I've always said Ten Hag. I hope it's Ten Hag. I know it's very unlikely to be Ten Hag. Pochettino, for me, I love him so much. I hope it doesn't come back. A couple of reasons. I don't believe the board yet. The board needs to do some grovelling. The board need to back him properly. The board need to show some ambition. The board need to communicate that to us fans. Because for me, it's just irrelevant who we're getting right now. Till the board, lay out a plan, and
Yeah,
we've got knowledge of
yeah,
that plan. At this time of moment, I have no confidence in any manager to come in, because well, last thing I want is Poch to come in and us destroy him again.
Yeah,
Because we
yeah,
did to an extent. We didn't back him. We could quite clearly see he wanted the furniture for the lovely house, and we failed. So I love him so much. Unless he comes on his terms, I don't want him back.
yeah. No, it makes sense. Cam, what do you think about all the manager talk and everything?
Well, I think that, anytime you have a vacuum, people want to fill it with whatever they can. So right now, they're just filling it with any kind of junk they can get their hands on. And the longer this drags on, the worse it actually is for Spurs, I would think, because that vacuum then starts to create snowball and become a whole entity on its own. And it happens with anything, any major. Just imagine a major corporation like, let's say, Apple, for example, has no CEO, and they're going to appoint a CEO in 3 months' time, and they start bandying all these big names around and everything else. But in that time, that major corporation is headlessly diving all over the place, right? What happens to their stocks? What happens to their share? Yeah, I mean, it never happens in the corporate world, does it? And I mean, this is what's happening to us here right now at Tottenham. We've got anyone can come up with the name of the manager. I think last time I came up, when I was on Bob's shows with Bielsa, and then he went on and signed another contract the next day. He must have heard me.
That's it. Yeah.
And it's just the same. I mean, we've spoken about so many different managers that all those managers out there are now desperately ringing their clubs and trying to get a new contract so they don't get associated with Spurs. And what's going to happen is we are going to be left with the Martinez's of this world, second-rate managers that none of us want. And all this time, taking your time to find a manager is actually doing serious damage to the club. Because now we should have had a manager out there going out there looking for players. We're talking about signing players without a manager.
It's not good, is it?
That's the thing I've ever heard.
Definitely not good. I mean, Bob, are we probably struggling to find a good manager that actually wants to come to Tottenham? That nobody wants to work with Daniel Levy. Harry Kane could be leaving. We're playing in a third-rate Europa competition. Are we such a great draw to anybody at the moment, Bob? What do you think?
We're Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, of course, but like Cam says, it should be all done in house.
Yeah,
I mean, I bet we can do it now. I bet you right now, within a minute, we can reel off 10 managers who have been associated with since Jose Mourinho goes. We could easily do it. And anyone in the comments, have a go. I bet you can reel off 10 managers we've been associated with within a minute. And that's how embarrassing it all is. It just comes across as incompetency from a football club. The fact that we're not only associated to different managers, but it's the likes of managers. We've got
the quality of manager, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. We've got a manager who's experienced and his forte is in defending in Conte. Then we've got an attacking manager in Pochettino. Then we've got a manager whose forte is bringing through youth in Ten Hag. Then we've got a Bielsa who, mind my language, plays a don't give a shit football in Bielsa. So there's no direction. There's no identity. We haven't had an identity under Enid for God knows how long, apart from not going the extra mile for signing a player. And that's all I want. If they said to us, the manager we're looking for has to work on a budget, work with youth, and play good football, Potter fits that role. But if we've got a manager, if they say we need to bring a manager who's going to test our financial resolve, and I know they've said that, but we're going to have a large transfer budget and we're going to make ourselves defensively solid, Conte fills that role. But we don't know what the identity is. There's no, at this time, we don't have a tunnel, never mind a light at the end of the tunnel with regards to ENIC. It's very unlikely they're going to sell themselves or move on. It's ENIC out, should be ENIC reform in my eyes. It's very unlikely they're going to sack themselves or sell up this summer. So, but they need change and they need to relate to the fans. And I think that was the main purpose of the protests.
Yeah. I mean, guys, put in the comments who do you think should be the next manager of Tottenham. Let's see who we get who's the most famous one. So the manager, we could talk forever about that, Bob. But in terms of, other things that are happening at the club, what's taken your notice about what's happening at the club at the moment? Harry Kane, I guess, is the big one, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Harry Kane, until I'm one of those, until I hear it from Harry Kane, it's all gibberish to me. Yeah. Be it Alistair Gold, who I keep on saying I love Alistair Gold, what he does, but gold isn't gospel.
Gold isn't gospel.
Sky Sports, it's Sky Sports, come out with all the reports left, right, centre. Till I see Harry Kane coming on screen and saying, guys, I've given it my all and I want to move on. then he wouldn't get any form of crap or any form of abuse from any Spurs fan. I like to think that anyway. He'd go with our best wishes and progress his career, rightly so. And he'll go to a team who's going to guarantee him trophies. He's not going to go to a team who are going to be in a rebuild, i.e. Man United, because I think you're certainly not going to win a league with the likes of Fred and McTominay. So I think he'll go to a team who guarantee him trophies, and that, unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, I don't mind him going to Man City. Mm-hmm. It's just the heartache of watching match of the day every week and seeing him scoring a hat trick on a weekly basis. That's going to kill me.
He's going to score goals for fun there if he goes to City, isn't he?
Oh, mate, he'll be hitting Messi, Ronaldo figures on a constant basis, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the first 45, 50 goals a season player in the Premier League.
Cam, what's your thoughts on Kane? Firstly, should he go? Or in theory, if Levy doesn't want to sell him, he doesn't have to go.
Yeah, you had some interesting views, didn't you, Cam? About Kane.
I said it very clearly, like when I was on Bob's show, that I don't think he's going this season, and I think that everything that has happened, right, today and in the last few days, from the comments from Levy, the last one I heard is he's put him a £200 million price tag on Kane. And said, take it up. Anyone comes in with 200 million, we'll consider it. You could buy, quite a lot. You could buy Mbappe and Haaland for that price. They're a lot younger. And Levy's view, from what I've heard, is that, well, actually, I'll still get good money for Kane in a year's time. So what have I got to lose? Where are you going to get? Think about it, though. If this was 2 years left of this contract, I think he'd be gone without a doubt. Because every year after 2 years, you're losing 50 million. And then the club will think, well, hold on, like they did with Ericsson, let's just wait until he's worth absolutely nothing. So he won't do that again, because we really got our fingers burnt with Ericsson. But 3 years is too long, and all the cards are in Levy. And the fact is that Kane can puff and bluff whatever as long as he wants. There's two things here. One is, I believe that because of the fact that he's been there for so long at the club, and he's been a professional player, he will not turn into a Berbatov or a type of player who will refuse to play for us and stop doing anything. He'll have to carry on playing because his reputation would dive. It's not just this, but in most things, you're only as good as your last game, or you're only as good as the last thing that you've done. After that, no one remembers what you did 3 years ago or 2 years ago. So he's going to have to consistently perform. So I can't see him going. But I have to say one thing. The longer this whole management crap goes on, without a manager and everything else, then you've got a club with a head running around like a headless chicken, spraying blood all over the Premier League. And nobody knows where we're going. Got no direction. Are we going forward? Are we going backwards? Are we going sideways? We don't even know where we're going. And frankly, the view, I don't even think that Levy knows where we're going right now. Nobody does.
Yeah. But you think Kane would have a say in, well, not say, have a conversation with regards to the next manager? Surely, if I was Levy, I'd certainly do that. I want you to say, help me find the next manager. Tell me your thoughts, because the good thing about Kane, whoever comes in, we could put Mickey Mouse in charge and he's going to give 100%. But you're right about his valuation as well. I'm quite happy to take a hit on his valuation if he's going to go next season of a 25 million decline. If it means we're going to get into the top four, maybe win a cup. Just that top four qualification is going to kind of make up the difference, if not more. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we got a question here, Cam. We got a question from Pally. Is Eric Dyer done at Spurs now? Then you can't be playing him regularly. He didn't get into the England team. What do you think, Cam?
If I wasn't such a die-hard fan, I'd say if Eric Dyer isn't done at Spurs, then I'm definitely done with Spurs. We all say that. How many times do people say those kind of things? Clearly, we're not. My last comment today was if Martinez is a Spurs manager, I'm going to have to consider supporting Arsenal. But
what do you think, Bob? Don't do that. Don't. That's too much. You have to get you off. What do you think, Bob? Is Dyer done at Tottenham?
Finish my point about Dyer. If Dyer's got to be done at Spurs, how can he not be? What he's done this season, or what he was doing before when Pochettino was there, because Pochettino wasn't playing him. He's been on the decline for 2 or 3 years. I don't know what this obsession with Mourinho was with Dyer. Okay, they're both Portuguese. That might have been something, but I can't just don't see it.
What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, Dyer was done about 3 seasons ago, wasn't he? I mean, like Cam says under Pochettino, I believe Jose being the not strong-minded, but the proud person he is and the stubborn person he is, because he was after factually was after Dyer when Jose was at Man United. I think he just wanted to prove to people this is the reason why I was after Dyer. Look at that. But and let's be honest, at the beginning of the season, him and Toby got us at the top of the league. Unfortunately, they couldn't sustain it. So
it was Tongan, actually.
Yeah.
It's before, it was.
Yeah, but the thing is,
beginning of this season. Yeah.
What's Dyer's best position, Bob? I mean, he's too slow to be a DM, and he's not fast enough to be a centre back. What is his best position?
The bench.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, the bench. I was going to say in somebody else's team is the best position. But you're right. The bench is just as good. Yeah.
We did win a lot of plaudits, and obviously represented England when he was playing DM for Spurs. But let's not forget he played alongside Dembele, who was arguably the best midfielder certainly we've had since. I'm going to put it out there, probably Modric, Gaza. What he had. So Dembele did make him a better player, I believe. So I mean, Dyer's had it in my eyes. He's had it for a few years. The reason why he played under Mason was because they were mates. As simple as that. I'll probably leave you wanted in.
I mean, Mason was a big mistake.
That's what I was saying, mate.
Yeah. If we get 25, 30 million for him, I'll be happy with that. I'll take 20, 25.
How?
Yeah.
Who would pay that though? Who?
Well, we have to ask somebody stupid enough to pay.
An Everton. I could see an Everton or a Villa coming in and giving him 20 million.
Maybe he'd do well there with that. Maybe playing for a smaller club, he might.
Exactly.
Smaller club might do well.
Yeah.
But let's try and rebuild the back four now, Bob. And then I'll come to Cam. Who would you want in at right back, Bob? If you could say, look, we can get a right back. Let's get somebody in. Who would you want at right back, Bob?
I know they've been promoted, but I'd really like Max Aarons. But having said that, when you look at our youth team, Lavinia's having great reports, and I mean our youth setup's really good. When you stand back and you have a look at the likes of Whiteman, Lavinia, Tanganga, Roden, Sirkin, we've got Harvey White, Devine, Skippy, Scarlett, Jack Clark, who I don't think is going to make. But we've got youngsters in every single position. Yeah. So I like Max Aarons. There's not many quality right backs out there, really, in my eyes. Lafferty at Brighton. But for me, I like Max Aarons, but I think with them being promoted, I think that might be a bit out there. But we need a right back, and for me, Tanganga showed enough to certainly grow into that. Yeah. But we're certainly not going to be a champion, a league challengers with the likes of, unfortunately, Tanganga, who I think is better centre back, better centre back. Okay. In the right back position. But for me, Max Aarons, I'd love to get him in. What
about you, Cam? Who would be you want to get in at right back?
I think that obviously Lamptey would have been a good signing if he was fit. I haven't seen him play very much recently in the latter half of the season.
Yeah, he's been injured. Yeah,
I mean, I agree with Bob. I mean, there aren't that many people out there. I mean, we really need to work on Tang. I don't know if Tanganga was in that position. What I can never get over and understand, maybe you guys can explain it to me, how Foyth could play right back for Argentina. Argentina, one of the best teams in the world, right? And
I'm not sure about that. Got Nicolas Otamendi is one of their defenders, and he's not that great.
But he played for Argentina in the right back position. The Spurs aren't that great either. So exactly. Otamendi was in a team that's won I think the Premiership last 4 times.
But that was despite him, not because of him. I think Otamendi was the one leading.
Probably.
So who was your right back? Who was your right back, Cam? I didn't get that.
My right back right now. Jesus, I don't know.
Foyth's in the good shot though. I mean, he's causing havoc against.
Has he got the pace though, Bob? Has he got enough pace, Bob, at right back?
Foyth, I'm a firm
what he did
believer.
against Arsenal at Villarreal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but Arsenal are no good.
I don't think you really need pacey defenders if they play it right. I mean, for me, some of the great right backs in the Premier League. I know they're both Man United, but Dennis Irwin and Gary Neville, they were the best, but they never had pace.
Fair point.
But
You
Ray,
know,
does it beg the question that we're having this discussion when we sent out Foyth, who could play at right back on loan, we sent out Sessegnon, who could play at left back on
Yeah.
loan, and we're struggling with those positions, especially the way that Reguilon's been playing. I'm sure that if Sessegnon had been able to give him a bit of a run for his money, and he might have not thought that, hey, you know what, that I can score own goals from outside my own box and still get the next game. I mean, because the players get cocky. There is no competition.
Yeah, exactly.
In those positions.
Totally
Because
agree.
we take good players, and this is what we do to them. I mean, Sessegnon was one of the stars, of the young stars in Britain until he came to Spurs.
Fulham,
Now we're hopefully he's going to come back next season and do something.
Yeah, and he's played all right, hasn't he? You know, even last game he created a chance. But he's been playing that left wing back role, so
I think that's probably better for him, actually, isn't it? Left wing back.
But it's dependent on how we play. I mean, Doherty came in and he was one of the best. He was second behind Arnold with his stats, but that was purely because he was playing wing back. And as soon as he came in,
he did good.
We didn't play as a back three. I think Reguilon becoming available kind of changed the whole scenario, because I think there was every intention of playing Ben Davies in the left side of the centre backs, and pushing in. But I mean, for me, Sessegnon has got the chance, but I see him more of an attacking left midfielder than left back, because I don't think we'll be playing wing backs next season. I hope I'm wrong. It all depends on what kind of investment we make in the centre backs.
So who would you have at left back then, Bob? Right back, Max Aarons is who? And then Cam, I'll ask you about your left back.
Reguilon. I mean,
Reguilon.
He's had a loss of form towards the end of the season. He's played loads of games, and like Cam says, there's been no competition there. So hopefully we'll bring a left back in as well as Sessegnon, just to and probably bring Sirkin through as well, just to give him that bit of competition. I think he just needs a break, get away from Spurs, have a little life, because we've seen what he's capable of. It's not like he's been crap all season like a Doherty. But we've seen what he's capable of. So he just needs to have a little bit of a break. Fortunately, he's not in the international squad. He's not in there. So just get away, put your head down, have a wicked summer, just relax, come back refreshed, and start like you started this season. And that's it. So it's a blessing in disguise in my eyes that he's not been picked.
Can you guys see the comments, by the way? Can you see the comments? Yeah. So what do you think about this comment? Pochettino's history, why should he be considered again? Needs a newer, younger manager can best utilise their skills. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, like I say, I'm all for Poch to come back, but the thing where he fell down, or we certainly let him down last time, was because we didn't invest. I know there's a counter argument. Every time we got to a big game, he did get certain decisions wrong. You know, in the cup. In the cup,
he someone at left back, didn't he, or something?
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't really take the competitions as you know. We weren't in that fortunate position where we can, sideline a cup. We need any form of success would have been great, and we had the team there to do it as well. But if Brendan Rodgers is looking as a bit of a bottle job with Leicester, failing to secure top four after being in there for most of the season, then does Pochettino deserve to? I think the frustration is the fact that we knew when Pochettino's there, we were one step away from becoming a proper challenger for the Premier League in my eyes, and a champion as well. We were one player away. Now, unfortunately, the way we've declined, we're probably 3 steps away from actually getting in the top 4.
You're right.
So we've declined so much, and that's the reason why I'd be happy to give Poch. But if Poch is going to come back with the same kind of remit and same kind of handcuffs on him as it was before, then nah.
I'm not sure he's going to come back, Bob. I don't think he trusts Levy anymore anyway.
I don't blame him. Can you blame him?
No, I wouldn't trust him.
I would say Pochettino comes back, but under a new leadership, new ownership,
but the thing
with
is,
some money and with some stuff. The thing is you've got to think with him, his inability to win our equivalent of League 3 with Mbappe and Neymar really does have to say something. I'm sorry, Poch. Love you very much. But, again, I mean, he had all the tools in France. I mean, most of those teams wouldn't make the Premier League, let's face it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he had two of the best players in the world. I'm not just those two. He had some of the best talent
Yeah.
around there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they failed. And that is, I think, right now we don't need that. We don't need someone who's almost ran all the time. We need somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, we said this with Mourinho, though, didn't we? But we need somebody, and I agree with those comments. We need a younger manager.
Yeah.
Who, though? In which case, I think we either go back to a complete rebuild and put someone like Scott Parker back in.
So let me come back to Bob. Let me come back to your thing about Eric Ten Hag. I'm sorry, man. I've got to disagree with you on that. I don't rate Ten Hag. All right, he's done reasonably well, but he let a 3-goal lead slip in 45 minutes against us. Not the best Tottenham team in the world. Tottenham team that lost 20 games that season. Secondly, the Eredivisie is not the top league in the world. You know that, don't you? It's not a great league. So Ajax are expected to win that. Yes, I agree with you. He's got the reputation of bringing young talent through and giving it time. But is he going to get time at Tottenham? Levy wants top 4 next season. Is he going to get any time? I don't think so.
Well, that's the question. Yeah, that's what I said right from the off. It's irrelevant who we're getting. If the board are going to be playing the same kind of game, showing the same kind of lack of ambition, it's irrelevant. If Ten Hag comes in, he needs to bring the same. He needs to bring his backroom staff with him as well, who bring that Ajax, Johan Cruyff philosophy with them. If it's not, then it's all irrelevant. Poch, Ten Hag, Alex Ferguson out of retirement. It's all irrelevant.
Even Guardiola wouldn't be able to do anything there. And I think a big problem that we've seen, and I think we can't even. I don't think there's any answer to it. Is a lot of people don't want to work with Daniel Levy. They know the way he works, the way he operates. They just don't want it.
Well, you know what, Ray? I mean, when you watch the Amazon documentary, he actually came across as very human.
That's editing. That's really good editing. That is
much more than what you probably see or hear about in the press. But actually, he came across okay. I think the problem that we've got here, one of the things you said, Bob, is he wants someone to give us top 4 next season, and the problem is that we've got a 62,000 plus seater stadium, one of the biggest, one of the best in the world, right? But we're still playing like a team with a 30,000 seater stadium.
Yeah.
And the business plan does not bode for that. The only way that he got that stadium, got the funding, got everything to come on, was on the back that they must. I haven't seen it, but I can only assume it's on the back that we will be a top 4 team, Champions League every year, and we will be able to generate that income, because it is all about the economics of this, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when you have a team with a stadium like that playing like a 30,000 team. I mean, if we were in the old White Hart Lane and we came 7th, we would have all probably said, yeah, not too bad. But now we joined the big leagues by turning out what we've turned out in terms of what we've got, the asset that we've got, but we're just not delivering. And it reminds me very much of what happened at Arsenal, because when they bought their new stadium, didn't they have about like 3 years before they could do anything?
But at least they ended up winning. At least they ended up winning something.
No, the first season, a couple of seasons they didn't they?
But Bob, it reminds me of there's a program. I don't know if you watch it. It's on TV. You probably don't see it. It's called Shark Tank. It's like the American equivalent of Dragon's Den, yeah. And what they say is there's some people that come on, they pitch, and they want to be an entrepreneur, but they're not really entrepreneurs. So they call them wantrepreneurs. They want to be an entrepreneur, but they're not. Wantrepreneur. And I think Daniel Levy is a wantrepreneur football guy. Yeah. He wants to be, but he's just not it. He's just not it. So anyway, let's enough talking about Levy. Sorry, go ahead, Bob. Go on, Bob.
No, I just want to say about Levy. There's a lot of talk about him being he's rubbish at the football side, but he's great, businessly, financially.
He's an accountant, isn't he, by trade?
Yeah. For me, no, I think there's questions can be raised about that. For you to come in and buy a football club and not invest properly in the football team, which is your main product within that, shows to me, it's all very well buying investing 22 million into something, and now it being worth 2 billion. Absolutely fantastic. But when you stand back and you think about it, he had the chance to go that extra mile with the likes of Grealish, Dybala, Skriniar, Bruno, Cavani. He had the chance to go that extra mile. Mane. He had the chance to go the extra. That 2 billion. As good as it looks against 22 million as purchase,
could have been 4 billion.
that 2 billion could have been 4 billion. Now, does that make him a good businessman?
I think you make a really brilliant point there, Bob, because he's a good businessman. He's not a great businessman. You're right. If he'd invested in the club, we'd won the league, the Champions League. That club could be worth 4 billion by now.
Exactly.
I think you raise a really valid point there, Bob.
I think what happened, though, guys, is that he believed his own hype. Because if you look at last year's stats just before coronavirus, Tottenham was the most #1 valued team on the planet. In terms of balancing the books and doing everything that we were doing, we were valued higher than any single club. The virus has hurt Tottenham more than anybody else, because the first things that I think that you've got to understand that's happened is that financial fair play is now out of the window. No one gives a damn what you spend.
No.
And every business plan that Levy put forward with any was just to assuming that all the other clubs will have to conform to financial fair play. And on that basis, we're worth a lot of money because we balance the books and always made money. Now that you can just go out and buy whoever the hell you want, buy whatever you want, buy whatever trophy you want, we are now almost rans because we haven't got the money. There's only about 3 clubs out there that have: City, United, and Chelsea.
We've got a £600 million debt on the stadium, whatever it is, £700 million debt on the stadium.
Even Liverpool don't have the money.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that, but I do think that, I mean, we've got the best money-making generator there, i.e. the stadium. I know we're not going to get any money in, or we haven't got any money in, for the stadium, but it's not like the stadium's going anywhere. We will be making money on the Lady Gaga, Guns N' Roses, the NFLs. The money will be generated. The money will still come in. It might come in a year or so after the expectations and the predictions, but the money's going to come in. It's not like it's going to go. So I'm sure there are lenders out there who will see that, who'll see, right, okay, you've got an asset there who's making money, they've got a product there, it's going to make money over and over again. £1 million per game, by the way, and that's just through bits.
Well, I was going to say to you, Bob, they make more money through the concessions, like food and drink and all that, than they make from the tickets, don't they? Yeah.
So they could easily go the extra mile to get money out and spend. So I think people.
Yeah, you're right, Bob. You're absolutely right. But I mean, if you take the Chelsea example, I was looking at some figures recently. Abramovich has loaned. I think over £1 billion to Chelsea and not had a penny back. How many years has he been there? 13 years?
13 years, yeah.
1 penny has he asked for back. It's still sitting there on a loan. This is a team that can spend 72 million on a goalkeeper, realize that he's a pile of pants, and 3 months later spend another 50 million on another goalkeeper and not even blink. It's not about now balancing the books. It's about finding a rich billionaire which is willing to give you £2 billion pounds. Close your eyes and let it go.
So if he was to sell, if he was to sell Chelsea, how much could he get for Chelsea now?
I think that if he called in his debt, it'd probably be about minus $20.
Yeah.
No, but let's say he sold Chelsea. Could he sell Chelsea for $2 billion? He makes $1 billion profit, then, doesn't he?
I would say,
yeah.
I'm
sure he could. If we're worth $2.5 billion, they've won the Champions League, they've won the Premier League, they've won the FA Cup. They're a bigger club than us.
That's just the debt they've got to Abramovich.
He can write that debt off, can't he, if he sells it? Anyway, let's get back to the team now, Bob. Who's your dream centre half for next season?
I love Botman. I think he's done absolutely fantastic.
Who's he playing for at the moment? Is it Lille?
Lille, yeah. So he is champion, and but I believe Lille, despite being champions, they're financially they're all over the place. So I know they are going to be looking to sell players. So again, it comes down to Levy. Go out there and spend 25, 30 to bring Botman over. I do believe we need experience alongside him, so I would keep Toby for another season.
Yes.
Having said that, if we are getting rid of the likes of Sanchez and Dyer, we do need another defender. And from what I saw with Anderson,
I was just about to say, Fulham,
from Fulham, I know who's on loan from. Where was he from?
I think he was from one of the French clubs. I think.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Lyon, was it?
In Lyon, I think.
Yeah.
I believe so. But yeah, I mean, he'd cost 25, 30 as well. So,
but that's nothing in the grand scheme of things, is it? 25 million percent off.
No, but we are talking. If we are bringing a right back, we are talking close on 100 million or 90 million to cover that. But we need to. We need to do that. There's not a question of we should be. We need to do that, and if we're going to flex our muscles, and if Levy has seen the season, or certainly the tail end of the season, as something that he needs to prove, because I don't believe Levy. I've got no trust in the board whatsoever. He needs to do something. He needs to show something. Him and Lewis, and like Cam says, ideally Lewis will say, "Here's £1 billion. Do whatever you need with it."
I wish,
that's
mate.
the ideal scenario.
We can ideally
it's
hope
never
going
to happen.
It's never going to happen. That's why they have to sell. That's why they
yeah.
have to sell. There's got to be someone out there who's got that kind of money. I just want to on the defense, as you were saying, one of the most interesting things is, and I love the way, Ray, you raised the point. What, 25 million, 30 million on a good solid defender? No, we want to spend 40 million on a guy that skates on ice like Sanchez and falls over his own left foot. He can tackle himself. There are very few players out there worth 40 million who can actually
and guaranteed to give away a penalty in every match.
Yeah.
You don't get them that often.
100%,
I mean, you know how difficult it is to tackle yourself? It's not easy.
It's an art.
This guy has an art form.
This guy's got it to a T, hasn't he?
About to turn around and see you in the penalty box and fall down on your backside, man. That takes talent too. £40 million worth. So this is the problem that we've got, haven't we? You're right. Somebody has been making these decisions to sign these players. Yeah. And Ndombele, I'm going to come back to. I mean, you know, you don't want me to ever talk about that again. But
we talk about Ndombele. But I want to say,
well, I mean, look at Sanchez and Ndombele. It's 100 million.
I want to ask. We'll come to you, Cam. Bob, what's your views on Ndombele? Should we keep him or get rid of him?
He's not done anything for me, unfortunately. You know,
60 million, 200k a week, done nothing.
Yeah, all I see is excuses for him. Oh yeah, he's great. There's no doubt. There's quality there. There's no doubt. There's quality there. There's no doubt he can hold the ball. He can take on a player and everything else. But for me, is he the right fit to where we want to go? Again, it's a bit. I'm being a bit of a hypocrite by saying this with not knowing who the manager is. You know, he can't play in the pivot. He hasn't got the legs for it. He can't play the number 10 because he doesn't have that.
He doesn't have the Ericsson pass, does he?
The awareness. He doesn't have the awareness or the vision to play that. He certainly can't play the wing or anywhere else. So I'm not quite sure what his role is. You know, whoever comes in, whoever midfielder comes in has to have the ability to play alongside Højbjerg. Højbjerg, every time he plays alongside Dembele, has to be doing. It always does 2 people's worth of work, and we need someone like, hopefully, Ollie Skip, who will come in and play alongside and learn from Højbjerg. If not, someone like Basuma, you know, someone like
Sabitzer. He'd be a great signing.
Sabitzer,
would be amazing.
Somebody like Ndidi would be good.
Yeah, Ndidi, so underrated.
But where's the creativity coming from, Bob? If we got Ndidi and Højbjerg, where's the creativity coming from?
For me, we don't need that. Yeah, I mean, where was creativity under Dembele? You know, Dembele hardly had any.
He had Ericsson with him, though, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So ahead of him, we need we would stand back. We need a new number 10. We need someone new in the pivot alongside Højbjerg. We need 2 defenders. We need a right back, and ideally we need 2 centre forwards to back up Harry Kane, who I think will stay.
Steve Singer's joined the call. Hello, Steve.
Steve Singer.
Hi, Steve.
Steve, thanks for joining, Steve. Give us some questions for Bob and us. It's good to have you on.
I mean, I want to say that we're very clear that we have got problems all over the pitch. Up front, we have got probably had one. We have obviously got 3 of the strongest players anyone could ever wish for, but the service to them was poor all season. So if one of them had to keep going back to get the ball and pass it to the others, that's the reason why Kane and Son. I mean, we all celebrate the fact that Kane and Son had the highest assist rates. Yeah. But can you not see the problem with that? Can you say the problem is the reason why they've got that? Because the rest of the bloody team were useless.
We're relying on them.
Of providing those assists. So, you know, not only did they have to carry the water, they had to drink it as well.
Yeah.
It's great that they did that they got that, but it shows where the real problems in that team was, and it don't take a rocket scientist to work it out. The fact that your front players are having to do their own assists because nobody else is no one in the team is capable of doing it, and that is a fundamental. And you know, I know you don't like me saying this, but Ericsson was never replaced, even close.
True.
And so Kane had to become Ericsson and Kane, and then Dele Alli turned into a pile of poo. So he had to become Dele, Kane, Ericsson, with Son doing half of that as well. And it's unsustainable. That's why the second half of the season fell to pieces.
Yeah.
Well, Steve says we're going to buy big by buying Max Aarons. I think he said Max Aarons. But
Yeah.
Bob, let me ask you a question. Is it more important than who we buy? It's more important that is who can we actually get rid of and offload? Is that a fair point or not?
It's been the case for the last few seasons, hasn't it, Ray? You know, we've not managed to push out the players who we wanted to. You know, there's a lot of talk in the summer about Ali. For me, we should have got rid of him in the summer. He's declined, despite his late show, which again hasn't really pulled up any trees. But for me, he's declined by 10 million.
10 million
from the summer. Yeah, I believe there was talks of him going for 40 odd million.
There were talks of him going for 100 million after he scored that two goals against Real Madrid.
Chelsea,
Steve is saying he's going to be sold in the summer, and Steve is also saying we're going to get rid of Winks. Hopefully, you're right. I hope you're right.
You'd be lucky to make a profit on Dele right now.
Yeah,
well, we haven't bought him for 5 million.
Well,
so we've got to make a profit.
Yeah, we're going to make a profit.
We've got to make a profit on him.
We're definitely not getting the 35-40 millions that were talked about in the summer. We'll probably get half of that now, or if not. But for me, I'm a firm believer that the most expensive player should be the first one to go out. Just build up that budget.
But who is the most expensive then?
Dembele. It's Dembele, isn't it? And Dembele. Then it's Ali, then Sally, then might be Sanchez. And then obviously we're looking at I don't know. There are many players. But then, you know, do we go down the Bale route where we bring in 7 players and then sell Bale at the last minute? I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. But we need to move on players. And for me, we're in a position where we have to move on players before we purchase anyone. But all irrelevant until we get manager in.
Bob, how does it work? Does it have to wait for the Euros to be over before the wheeling and dealing starts? Or can it start beforehand?
Start selling now.
Do it now.
Tracy Jones is saying it's time for Dele to go. I agree with you, Tracy. Definitely.
That's it.
It's telling
do it now. Do it during the Euros. That phone should be not put down from Hitchin. It should be constantly on that phone, getting out. You know, it's all very well going. I really hate January.
Is Hitchin good enough? Do you trust Hitchin to do these deals?
Mate, I've got this theory about Hitchin. I don't agree with the players, but let's be honest, it was factual. It's facts that Bruno, the likes of Bruno, Grealish was so desperate to come to us. Bruno was not far from reaching an agreement. He was gutted. You know, Skriniar, we were over there. Dybala, we were all set to go. Right. So, in my eyes, Hitchin has done his bit by getting all these players through that initial door. You know, and literally with the pen, he's given them the pen and said, "Go on, sign it." Where it's fell down is, lo and behold, from Daniel Levy. So,
well, you know what happened with Bruno, don't you? Because he got it through the door. He forgot to put his first name there. So Levy went out and got Getson instead.
Exactly.
Was it still a Fernandez? You couldn't really tell the difference.
Exactly. I do give a tiny bit of benefit because we don't know how it all works. But for me, the fact that these players were quite ready to sign for us. You know, Grealish, we were talking 5 million, 5 million. For me, it all fell down with.
Who was the manager then when Grealish and Mane? It was when Poch was in charge, was it?
Well, Grealish was obviously signed with just around
Grealish was the one the year we signed nobody. He was going to be the only player we were going to sign. And what happened? I can tell you what happened very clearly. Villa were in serious financial trouble, and we're going to be looking at the receiver coming in and docking points, going down another division, all sorts of crap. And they needed to get rid of Grealish. They wanted 6 million. He wouldn't pay more than 5 million. By which time, they said nope, 6 million. I mean, really, $1 million for he wouldn't pay the 6, and Villa got bought out by some very, very rich people, paid off all their debts and said, Grealish go to hell. And he stayed.
You're going to give me 6 million now? All right, now, see you later, mate.
Now, 80 million. They won't even sell him for 80 million.
And still, he should have gone in for 18 million. But hey-ho.
We are going to get Hazard.
I'm not sure I understand, but if we are going to get Hazard in Bale-type loan. The manager will have the final say, Bale or Hazard.
Oh, that's interesting, Steve. Very interesting,
Steve,
Steve.
I mean,
that's
why
good.
has everyone got it in for Bale? He scored 16 goals.
No.
He came in. He got us quite a lot of points where we needed them. We got the Southampton game. We got the Brighton game. We got the Leicester game. That to me is 9 clear points he wouldn't have got without Bale. Without those 9 points, where would we be? We'd be well below the scum, and would be below.
Well,
Would be
what?
about 12,
Does he
13.
Let me ask
justify?
Bob. What
Does he
about
justify?
Eden Hazard, Bob?
No,
Would you want
sorry.
Eden Hazard?
No, we're
He's
done
a-
with leftovers. You know, he's not
Yeah.
done it at Real Madrid. You know, why
Yeah.
should we get sloppy seconds?
Yeah,
No,
you're right.
we need to. I don't get me wrong. If it comes down, we've bought 7 players and we need someone back up in midfield, and yeah, let's take on Hazard. Let's do it. Let's see how it goes. But I can't see him coming to us the amount of times he dissed us while
Yeah,
being a
exactly.
Chelsea
Spurs
player.
really dissed us big
Oh
time,
God,
didn't he?
yeah! What he did to us at that at the Battle of the Bridge.
Yeah, the
We
Battle
could
of the
come
Bridge
there,
was
and
that
we could
last.
crock him and send him back.
Yeah, no. For me, no, it just wouldn't. So we don't. I want to be in a position where I can say no. We don't need a Hazard. With regards to Bale, yes, you're right, Cam. Spot on with that, mate. But for me, the ill feeling of him being on nearly a £250,000 is just for me
But
hasn't justified it. I
But he
know
didn't cost us
opportunities.
anything. We didn't have to pay a fee.
Yeah, but 200 grand a week could be another 2 really good players for 100 grand a week each. There, Cam.
Dembele's on over 200 grand a week, and we pay 60 million on top of that.
Yeah,
Are you telling me
Yeah,
that
but Dembele's our player. But Dembele's an asset, Cam.
And Dombele got 3
And Dombele's
goals.
an asset. We can sell him. We can't sell Kane or do anything with him.
Well,
Bale,
we-
sorry.
With
3
Bale,
goals.
I expected a lot more, and I know a lot of people
I
were
did.
saying, "Oh, I did." Yeah, you know, at bigger games, no one turned up, so why should
Yeah,
Bale? I'm
he's-
sorry, you're world class, mate.
Yeah,
You know, you're one of
exactly.
the best players. You show up. You
You
lead
should
by
do.
example.
You
And,
gotta,
and for me, he just didn't do it for me. You know, it was
No.
great seeing him in the Spurs shirt. I know, Cam, you're a big fan. I had Bale's shirt for 2 seasons in a row. When he went to Real Madrid, I bought a Real Madrid shirt with Bale on the back. That's how much of a fan I was, and it was great. Nostalgic wise, it was great to get him back.
take
For
it
me,
for the
he
last
just-
year. Let's take
yeah,
it
he
for the
just,
last
he
year.
just, and the fact he wasn't picked under Jose, there must be something there for him not to be
Thanks, Michael.
picked.
Yeah,
so
thanks, Michael.
he's just not justified it for me, guys.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's a bit of a flat track bully now. He does it against Sheffield United and all these other clubs. When it came to the big teams, he went missing.
You can only play against the team behind you, and I want to take.
No.
I want to take Bob up on a point that he's made, and I know you always put me in a position where I'm over defending Bell, but the point is that if we take the Arsenal game, which everyone talks about,
Steve's not happy.
which is the only game where he actually started in a big game. To be fair to Bale, so it's unfair to say that he was in the other big game because he wasn't. But bringing him on with 15 minutes to go and expecting him to change it around is
Well, no, he started some matches. He didn't do anything. He had to take him off.
only a couple. But it was an Arsenal game where he didn't. But then it comes back to the fact that the whole of the back four and the players in front of him, because Højbjerg had a really bad game, and I think he was playing with Ndombele there. They were awful. I mean, when your foundations are crumbling like that, how the hell are you supposed to build anything on it? And it was a completely crumbling wreck of
But big players do, though, don't they, Cam? I mean, you take for example David Beckham against Iceland in that
Greece.
final game where Greece. That's it. When he came through because he was the best player.
He
You know, Eric Cantona in the final against Liverpool for Man United scoring
Okay,
that
we
scissor
could take
kick.
Maradona in the World Cup in '86,
Well,
but that was probably a lot younger. But I do agree with you. I mean,
The bigger players turn up and they push and they lead by example. For me, unfortunately, rightly or wrongly, because of lack of playing time, fitness, whatever, for me, just did justify it, and I expected a bit more from him. But,
Okay.
Steve, who's going to be the new manager, Steve? Put it in the comment section. Sorry, Cam, go
I want
ahead.
to say one last thing about this, Bale, and then we want to move on. At the beginning of the season, Bob, when we were doing our channel and Bale was still getting fit and he wasn't playing the early games, we all went round our speakers and asked them and said, "What do you expect from Bale?" I said 20 goals at least. Yeah, well, I got 16. And I asked the other guys what they expect. They said, if we get 10 goals out of Bale, we've got our money's worth. Well, we've got more than 10. So, I mean, you know.
Did you?
Steve is saying that we should get Harry Potter as a manager. Steve wants Harry Potter as a manager. So,
Harry
all
Potter.
right, so
Steve, we chatted on Twitter, mate. It was going so well. And then you go and say this guy's name. So, yeah. Never mind.
Quick one. I mean, Bob, you know when you do some building work at home and the builder doesn't finish everything, you got what's called a snagging list, stuff he has to fix. Yeah. So why don't you let's go through a snagging list for Tottenham Hotspur then? What's the snagging list and what order do they come in? What do you think, Bob? And then I'll come to Cam. Well, let's say you've got a list of things to fix in priority. Which ones come first?
I've said this for a few months, and I've made streams based on it. You know, I've done a full stream based on ENIC.
Yeah.
So with
that must
a
have
few
been
guests.
a rant.
Oh, it was. Yeah. And for me, it's the board. And until then, there's nothing. You're talking about building. Every building has a foundation. A foundation in Tottenham's eyes are the board. They can't be flimsy. They can't be like that. They can't be skew whiff or anything. They need to be solid. They need to be solid in their direction. They need to be solid in their identity. They need to be solid in their ambition. They need to be solid in the perspective. Everything needs to be clear. Everything needs to be direct. Everything needs to be communicated. And until that's done, it's totally irrelevant what kind of building work, bricks and cement, because whatever you do, it's just going to fall down because the foundations aren't strong. Yeah. So for me, it's all about the board. It's all about the board. I know, as unrealistic it is, in an ideal world, they'll go and get taken over by some billionaire sheikh or whatever. Yeah. That's very unlikely. I understand that, but they need to change their ways. There needs to be a change of a mindset up in the board, and if that's done, we're kind of halfway there. Then back it up, bring the right manager in. Bring the right players in. It's a slow but surely this. So it's definitely that way.
Yeah, right. I think so. Prane, I agree with you. Winks, Sissoko, Lamela have to go. I totally agree, buddy.
100%.
I think you're 100% right there. Yeah,
but you got to add. You got to put Sanchez in there. You got to put Dyer in there. You got to put Ndombele in there.
You got too many.
Half
the team needs to go.
Ali's
got to go. Lamela. Have we got any famous Tottenham fans? Hold on, Cam. Just one thing. Have we got any famous Tottenham fans, Bob, that could buy Tottenham? They got the Spotify boss who's going to buy Arsenal. Have we got anybody famous who can buy us?
Yeah, we've got the likes of Adele can get together with.
Has she got enough money?
Oh, you never know. We've got what's his name? The guy who plays Drax, Batista, whatever his name is.
Batista, is he a Tottenham fan?
Yeah, he's a
Steve Nash, the NBA guy. Yeah,
that's it, mate. So get
that kind of money.
I think we should start a GoFundMe campaign, to buy out Levy.
Let's do it.
You need Jeff Bezos to buy out. The only way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sissoko will stay. No ways anywhere and pick. Yes, a good point, Stevie. I think you're right. Nobody's going to pick up his 8K away.
He's got a year left, doesn't he? He's got a year left.
Has he got a year left or 2 years? I think he's got 2 years left.
Is it 2 years? Right.
Yeah, he's right. Nobody's going to get it. Sorry, Cam. Go ahead.
Well, you were talking about the foundations. What is wrong at the club? The snagging list. Well, I think that Tottenham team-wise, what we're talking about here is you pay someone to build you a mansion, and when you turn up, it's just a little grass hut.
Yeah.
You have to go in there and try and find the kitchen, try and find the living room, trying to find the only place to sleep is going to be a little mud space on the floor. That's what it feels like. So when you ask us for a snagging list, I want to see the house first. I haven't even seen anything. Because if you take out Kane, take out Son, who has had a very bad last half of season.
Yeah.
Let's be clear about that too. And take out my best mate Bale. And maybe Højbjerg, what have you? And let's leave in Lloris and let's leave in Toby because how much rock can you get rid of? Then the rest is just termite infested.
Yeah,
there is nothing else, and it's not a matter of just a new manager coming in and energizing these players because we've tried that. We tried that with Mourinho. We tried that with Mason to some extent, and it hasn't worked with some of those players. It really has not worked, and we saw that in the capitulation against Aston Villa. I know we keep going on about the Mourinho capitulation. Let's talk about the capitulation against Villa when we were sitting there, won that game, and we were in the top four. And we capitulated. We were absolutely awful. And you've got to ask yourself why every single time this season when we've had an opportunity to capitalize on the other teams' bad results, we felt we've rewarded them all with our own bad result.
Cam, which must-win game have we won this season? Well, not even this season, but I'm concentrating this season only. Which must-win game have we won this season?
I'd have to say the only game that comes close is the Leicester game at the end to get into because
Yeah.
only
Or the Chelsea Carabao Cup one, I suppose.
only the only reason.
But that's not a must win. You're right, Bob. That's not.
That wasn't a must win. Yeah.
We
No,
had
that
to
wasn't a
go.
must win, yeah.
The only one was the last one, only because of one reason, Bob, because of the hurt that Tottenham has spread so long all across the football leagues in Europe that they actually created a cup for us that we may have a chance of winning.
Yeah.
And we weren't even going to qualify for that.
I was all set for, you know what, if Arsenal finish above us, what the hell? It deserves. If we finish below Spurs, you know, we deserve it. We deserve it. We're where we finish.
Well, yeah.
Then at half time, or over half an hour to go, the amount of Arsenal fans coming out of the woodwork, giving me shit about it, I thought, sod this. Come on, you Spurs. We've got to do this. We got to do this. And fortunately, we did. A friend of mine has a box at the stadium, and he told me that there are currently thousands of fans have not renewed their season tickets yet, not hundreds. Obviously, things will change, but interesting.
That is very interesting, actually. Interesting, Steve. Yeah.
I've got one thing to say to this guy, to Steve. Right? Can we all get to know your mate who's got the box?
Yeah.
Right?
I think we need to do that. Yeah.
Can you do an introduction?
But I mean, Steve raises
Remember, your friends are our friends, Steve.
Yes,
Just
exactly,
Steve.
An interesting point, but a good point, really. The only way these guys are going to understand anything is by when we speak with our feet, when we don't spend money, they don't get revenue. That's the only thing they understand, isn't it, Bob?
Not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I know it's
lots
not
of
going to
talk
happen.
about. There's a lot of talk about the protests hitting the Lady Gaga and NFL events. So hopefully, and stop it from going ahead. You know, can you imagine how much news that'll be globally?
Yeah.
If Lady Gaga's.
Yeah, but we're damaging our own club. We need the money. That is a good player that we won't be able to sign.
No, I mean, I understand that, but I think we need to look at it. I mean, for me, I was at the protest when, when I turned up, and it was all about Lenik, that's a good name, that Levy selling our soul and everything else, and then it certainly turned to, if Levy died and Musa Sissoko and Ali songs and Ali and Pep's daughter, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
It sounds really embarrassing. Really embarrassing.
And
they're getting
for
me,
yeah, exactly. For me, the ESL was the defining moment. If fans can't understand how much of a big kick in the teeth, kick in the bollocks it was for every Spurs fan that these guys were sitting in a room for months on end, having sly little meetings and saying, right, let's sell our club, let's sell the soul, let's sell the history, let's sell the tradition, and let's sign a little petition, a little agreement, and the next day to come round and by the way, during that time, the trust to go up to Enoch and say, you guys aren't having anything to do with a European league, are you? No, of course not. Right, okay. Again, no, of course not. The next day saying, here you go, guys, here you go, fans. Sod the lot of you. We've signed this. Like it or lump it. See you later. If that wasn't a wake-up call for every single football fan, never mind Spurs fan, then nothing will. And we went to the protest, and
it just shows you, Bob. These guys don't care about football, and they just care about money. It just shows you exactly. Like you're absolutely right, Bob.
I'm going to say something very controversial here, guys. About the.
That's not like you, Cam.
What I'm going to say is, you're right, obviously, in terms of how the fans should feel and about the whole way the setup was, and all the really what it hits me is the impact upon the relegation and the structure and what we're used to in football up and down the leagues and stuff like that. But what I was happy about the ESL was the fact that we were actually in it. The one team that's ever won anything, that we actually thought we were a top 10 team. Wow, that came as a shock to me.
Top 6, yeah.
Top 6 team, top 10 team. All the European teams are putting Tottenham in there with them. This is a team that last time won the league before I was born. This is the team that last time they won a Mickey Mouse Cup was 13 years ago. And there we are, all with Champions League winners. Getting in there, hobnobbing with all those people.
I think Liam Gallagher was making fun on TalkSport about how Tottenham even considered to be part of that.
I thought it was.
I think we were ourselves.
I was outwardly outraged and inwardly honoured that we were part of this elite group.
Yeah.
And I want to ask this question. All very good, everyone bitching and complaining about it, right? But how would you have felt if they hadn't even considered us? I think I would have felt worse. They left us out.
Well, I don't think we don't deserve to be there. We've not won anything.
I can only speak personally. But there's absolutely no chance. I would have thought. The fact I was so surprised that we were in there, I think the grievance towards Levy would have been greater for the fact that he's put in a position where we're not even considered to be in the top 6. But standing back, look at the whole bigger picture. I'm glad we went. I'm glad we went. Hey, it's not finished. It's not finished. Yeah, I know. It's not finished though. Everyone thinks the ESL's finished. It's a dead duck.
No, it's just been delayed.
It's going to rear its head. And please don't underestimate how much of a penalty there might be coming our way as well with regards to money and potentially points. We just don't know.
Can I put another spin on this? Very, very interestingly. And that is,
good evening, Mr. Alexander.
If you are looking to expand football and soccer where it is into places like the USA where it is becoming big but not big enough yet, and looking to give it that kind of franchise look that the NFL has got and everything else, and make it really, really big in Asia, and then this is what the thinking is behind it, then you can afford to ignore your basic punter on the street, because at the end of the day, those people that are your core supporters at home are not where the money is. The money is right out there with those people.
Yep.
And let me give you one example. Last World Cup, last Euros. I came from America to the last Euros in 2016. I went to France and watched a few of the games. Didn't watch any of the England games. Too many hooligans and stuff. But the point is that the number one country which bought tickets to the Euros in 2016. Do you know which country it was? That bought the most tickets? It was the USA.
Yeah.
More than France. More than all the teams that were playing in the country.
Yeah.
And I think the same was true about the World Cup. And this is what these guys are seeing. They're seeing things that we're not seeing. And they're actually slowly coming to this conclusion with all this other money coming in that actually we are becoming more and more irrelevant. And if you think what you see over here in the USA with all their sports and the way these sports work, they like their fans. Yeah, the fans like to tailgate, which is what 99% of it's about, getting out and doing that sort of stuff. How relevant are they to the big teams? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's my only point. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, great point, mate. Great point. Spot on.
Prane saying we are a big club, the stadium, the infrastructure, training ground. Yeah, we are. I agree with you. If you measure it just by the stadium, the infrastructure, training, yes, we're a big ground. But football is measured by what you achieve on the pitch and what trophies you win. And we haven't won anything, Prane.
Well, Prane made a good point next. There you go. But Prane, the problem is the hurt. It's the pain that they're giving us. I mean, how much pain can we take? I mean, I've had an operation recently too, Bob, and I tell you what, some of my surgeon asked me when I was getting better. He was saying, "Don't put yourself under too much stress in the next couple of weeks." And I said to him, "Do you mind picking up the phone to Spurs and telling them that?"
Yeah, exactly. Have a word with Levy. Prane, I know what you're saying, mate, but what's the point of having a Ferrari with a Morris Minor engine? Because that's what we are. We've got a fantastic large Ferrari of a stadium, but you open it, it's just a shell, mate. There's nothing in there. At the moment, we've got nothing. We've got more dust in that trophy cabinet than anywhere else. And like I say, it's a Ferrari of a stadium with a Morris Minor engine, and it's empty. It's an empty shell. It's soulless. It's a home. It's not a house.
Cam. But Bob, what if Daniel Levy comes up and says, "Well, we've had the pandemic for 18 months. We haven't had any revenues. I can't spend any money this year." What do we say to that?
Well, like I say, he's going to come out with that, and he's already mentioned it in his final statement. Yeah. But for me, you got to remember, we are. There's money there for people to think that there's been no football. It's not a case of there has been football, but it's not cost us any. We're still generating revenue from Sky. Obviously the whatever we were expecting hasn't come in, but the money will come in. It's just been delayed by.
It's been delayed, yeah.
Still got that revenue generator. That's all it is. So the money is there, and any responsible lender You have to do your, ingoings, outgoings. You have to do affordability checks. There is not a single lender out there. Not the fact that we are in a position where we have to lend. There was a statement a couple of days ago. Joe Lewis has increased in value £388 million during the pandemic, which has taken his valuation to 4.33 billion. He's actually made 300. His valuation has grown 388 million pounds during the pandemic. So unfortunately, again, mind my language, is complete bullshit that Spurs haven't got any money, and leave it to come out and say that.
But Bob, I mean, we're not. I mean, Spurs don't go to Joe Lewis capping out. When was the last time he injected anything into the club, any money into the club?
Exactly. Hence the reason it has to change, mate. Otherwise,
like I say,
what happens if it doesn't change, Bob? What if things just carry on as normal?
They have to. They have to.
No, but you say it has to. But what's the repercussions of not changing?
The process is going to get louder. The voice is going to get louder. If it has to get louder and louder and more frequent, then so be it. But something has to change. And from what I'm hearing and from what I am seeing, and don't be surprised if there is slight change for next season. There will be some form of change. Something like that. Something has to change. Something has to give now. Levy's too much of a proud man to this constantly go on and on and on and on and on. He's had enough of that, and I believe something is in the pipeline to change. Be it the manager coming in and giving his back in, the quality of players. Something is going to change, and
I mean, the problem is,
but we don't know which.
The problem is, Ray. Can I just say one thing? I really think that the Emperor has no clothes. I mean, he's sitting up there, and he's actually naked underneath because. Don't
say things like that, man. You can get me worried about you now.
That's some weird dream.
Daniel Levy. Can't dream about Daniel Levy with no clothes on.
You must have read the child story of the Emperor. I mean, the reason why I say it is because it's all these pretend riches and stuff like that, right? Which I don't know whether they exist. But look, I've got a very much bigger issue I really need to discuss right now, and this is really important. I think there's something really weird going on here because I've been watching Bob drink that drink all the time, and it self-fills itself.
No,
it never gets
camera trick.
I've
got my partner going from round back. Actually,
I thought it was a magic drink. Where do you get those? It keeps filling up with self-filling drinks.
Trick, mate. It's all about.
But we forget that Daniel Levy owns 20% of ENIC as well, don't we?
He's a rich man. He's a rich man. He's not poor.
He doesn't.
And the point is, Lewis is not.
He's restricted himself as well. He has to go by. I know what you're saying about go cupping hand to Lewis, but he is a person that he has to answer to, Lewis, and give him updates. And hopefully, we'll be telling him, look, we need to pump some more money into this season like we've never done before.
Will he fire him?
No,
he's his son-in-law or something, isn't he?
There's some. This is God's. I don't know. They're
related, some relation there,
whatever. It's very unlikely. But the longer these voices of discontent carry on, hopefully, and that's all we can do. We're being realists. When I say we, the protesters, we're being realists. We're not expecting it to change overnight. We want to be heard.
But the
more often we do it,
let me ask you guys.
That's all we can do is hope.
Can I ask our listeners one thing and ask you guys one thing? I mean, what is the rationale behind the Tottenham Hotspur board and the people that are there? Is it to constantly break even and make a profit, or is it to win trophies and then lose money? Because I believe firmly, as long as they're continuing to make money, whatever happens, and they have a profitable business plan and a mark and something that moves forward, constantly puts money back into their pockets, because very few clubs do right now, then that's for many people in the business world that are running this thing is a profitable and a much better organization than one that might be like Chelsea winning every single cup but being bankrolled by a corrupt billionaire who made his money through dodgy deals.
Which way do you prefer, Cam? What would you rather have?
Well, if I was owning...
You're a football fan, you're not an accountant. You want to see success on the pitch, don't you?
You do, of course you do. But, I mean, you've got to understand that there are two drivers here, aren't there? And the one driver is, unfortunately, is economical, and that's the one that hurts us the most. Because how can Tottenham be last year having won nothing, the most profitable and economically the most viable club on the planet. We were ahead of Real Madrid. You're absolutely right, Prane. It's just capital. We were well ahead of Barcelona. We were ahead of Man United. If you looked at the profitability table and the best run club in the country economically before coronavirus, of course, Tottenham Hotspur were number one, which shocked the life out of me personally.
Yeah, so but if I say to you, do you want to watch Barcelona or do you want to watch Tottenham? What are you going to say?
I absolutely want to say I want to watch Tottenham because it's my team, and I don't agree. I don't agree with it. I'm not agreeing with it. What I'm saying to you is this is the mindset of the people that are running the club. And
yeah,
when they
agree.
go to their board members' meetings and they meet these people and say, "Wow, you've done fantastically. You haven't won anything for 13 years, but look at all the returns they got. We made 100 million this year. We made that much money this year. We're all getting a return." They go home and say, "Oh, we got knocked out of the Champions League, but don't worry about that, boys, because I just got a 5 million kickback from Tottenham from the money we made that year."
Yeah,
but Bob, but that's the case, isn't it? Until that changes, Bob.
They failed though. It just shows the lack of football people out there.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, that's complete failure.
For us,
no, but even as a financial, if there were football people, you stand back and say, right, we've got 5 million out of a kickback from a Champions League final appearance. Well, surely let's make the team good enough to get to that final on a more frequent basis. Yeah. Let's get what we've done so well. We've done X amount. Let's put money. We've made a 20 billion profit on a £2 million purchase. That's absolutely fantastic. Well, hold on. With a bit more investment, I'll tell you, we worked it out. £40 million more could have got in the likes of Dybala, Sabitzer, Grealish, and Skriniar. These 4 players on 40 million. If they paid the extra,
so he's not a great businessman after all, then, is he, Bob?
Well, that 20 billion could have been more.
You're absolutely right. They haven't got the foresight or the footballing brain of the now to be able to do it.
I'd be absolutely gutted. Yeah.
Will it change? Is the question. Will it change?
Exactly. Someone needs to go in and tell them that. I'll go in.
Well, maybe just send them the video. Link.
Yeah, I mean, fine. We can joke about it. We're going to be crying though if nothing changes. I tell you. I mean, what's your nightmare scenario, Bob? What's the worst thing that could happen in terms of a manager being appointed? Roberto Martinez?
No, Ryan Mason.
Carries on. Hold on, let me come back to you. That's a good point. Do you think that was a good idea to give Mason the last 6 or 7 games a complete novice?
To me, it came.
Harry Redknapp would have been a better bet.
Yeah, Harry Redknapp.
David Pleat.
Why didn't they give it to Ledley? He was there. He was a player. He's done the first team.
Or even give it to Chris Powell. He's been a manager before at Charlton.
Exactly. I mean, it was all about Levy, wasn't it? As soon as he sacked Jose, I came to a point was like, well, just give it to anyone. It doesn't matter because Levy going forward, Levy's going to be picking the team anyway. And he wanted a yes man. He got a yes man.
The only way this is going to change, and I'll be totally honest with you, I think the only way this is going to change is if we were in relegation area type trouble. Then it will something will have to happen, because once you're in relegation, either you go into free fall. I mean, I don't know if any of you were bored enough as I was the other day and watched Sunderland lose in the playoffs in League Two against Lincoln.
It could have been Tottenham.
It's Sunderland. They were exactly. Where was Sunderland? What was Sunderland 5 years ago?
Oh, I still remember Phillips and Quinn and all that,
So what I'm saying is, there is no bottom when it comes to football. Unfortunately, we've been very well protected, and maybe it's that kind of shake-up that you need. I don't know.
I think you're right. Levy is fantastic at commercial stuff. Well, we're not sure about that because Bob said if he paid another 40 million, he could have got some 4 or 5 great players. Football side is clueless. Yeah, I agree. So she needs to bring a director of football in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they've done everything at Tottenham, tried everything at Tottenham. Please don't forget, guys, there is one thing. We did used to have David Pleat, Jerry Francis, George Graham, and that French guy.
Big Martignol, Jack Santini.
Martignol was actually tied up.
Santini, Wanda Ramos, Christian Gross.
Wanda Ramos will run us something, Bob. Don't forget.
Ramos.
I looked when they were the managers, and 14 was pretty standard. 14, 11, 12 was 10, and top 10 was top 10. We used to say, "Wow, what a season!"
Yeah.
So I think we got
but the fact that Pochettino came in and quite easily overachieved not to take advantage. But for me, it's a crime that.
Yes, that
although on paper, or although on the pitch we weren't, but on paper, on official UEFA lists, after getting beaten by Liverpool, we were the second best team in Europe. Officially, we were the second best team in Europe, and to not be able to use that clout muscle to go on and say, right, we're the second best team in Europe. Come and play for Tottenham Hotspur.
Exactly.
We didn't take advantage of that whatsoever.
We could have attracted a lot of good players, you know. We just our visibility went so high then.
The year before that, Liverpool got hammered in the Champions League final, and then came back and won it, and then came back and won the league. They kicked on from there. Their Karius's big mistakes, and was it Bale's overhead kick that year?
But they went and bought Van Dijk and they bought Alisson and they fixed it.
It just shows identity. I mean, think whatever you want. Well, the fans think whatever they want about Glazers. But when you bring in the likes of Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, or Cavani, you know, Harry Maguire for X million pounds, the players know, the fans know. Here you go. Here's an identity. This is what we're going for. For Chelsea to spend X million pounds, like I say, £72 million on the goal, it shows the identity from the club. Higher up, what their identity is. You know, Liverpool went out and bought Alisson and Van Dijk. It just shows, there you go, this is our direction, this is our ambition. We've never had that under ENIC.
Well, what we have had, Bob, is we valued Sanchez at 40 million and refused to play $1 extra million for Grealish at 6 million.
Exactly. So they need to put in place an identity, right? This is the board that's going to spend money on here, on this. We're known as a board who will cut price and discount and look for
do things at the last minute.
Exactly. You know, if we could shop, if a player becomes available at a pound shop, Lever will go to the 99p shop to see if he could get an equivalent. You know, we need to get away from. We need to build an identity.
He'll try and buy him for 99p, which is what he did.
Bob,
we're always thinking we can pull one over on people.
Cam, what did Ali Gold mean when he said they're looking at a manager's going to test our financial result? What did he mean by that? Tell our viewers what you think he means by that, and now come to Bob.
I mean, you know, it's a really good point. Test our financial result. Test our financial result means that he's going to try and buy a player, and they're going to say no. That's testing a financial result, isn't it?
We're talking about the manager here. A manager's going to test our financial result. So basically, either that's compensation payments or these demands for players.
No, I think if we, you know, we're talking about how the team has been. You won't pay $1 extra million for 6 million for Grealish, but you'll pay 15 million a year for Mourinho. And you'll carry
exactly.
On
good point.
How much money? I mean, we cannot keep paying money to managers. We need some players who can play the bloody game on the pitch. And you know, at the end of the day, we were saying about the managers the other day. The manager's job is to say, "Ball, goal that way, go." I mean, you know, let's go back to the basics.
We should have signed Skriniar. We got Joe Rodon in instead. Not that Rodon's a bad player, but he may be a good player, but not for the numbers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was really impressed with Rodon because he went straight onto his butt.
He still made the tackle, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he still made the tackle. He did play out. He did play it out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, the other question that I know we're getting late.
I'm asking the questions here.
I wanted to ask one. What about everyone's going on about Kane 150 going here, there, and everywhere? I mean, Kane's injury record isn't very good, is it? Glass ankles, as we call him many times. I mean, that has got to be some kind of risk for anybody. One for us keeping him, and one for him going.
I think there's a bit of a myth, though, Cam. There was only season before last when he missed, I think, 14 games in total. I mean, this season he missed 3. Season before that 14 game, he missed 2 or 3, I think. Season before then, he missed 7. Yeah. But people have had those injuries, and it's not like he's had the injuries and it's kind of put him on the back foot, and his performances have declined, or he's lost a bit of pace, or a knack in front of goal. So yeah, I know what you're saying, but players, especially with the running that he does and the way he plays, of course, is picked up. But you know, to have one lengthy injury out of the last 4, I think says okay.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, Alexander is saying, I don't read too much into Gold's comments. Sure, he's no wiser than the right of us now. Only Levy and Co really know what's happening. Yeah, I agree with you. Bob. But isn't Gold, though, the mouthpiece of the club, Bobby?
He's not gospel. Gold isn't gospel.
Gold is
I love that. You come out with these sound bites. It's really good, Bobby. Yeah, Gold. Can I use that one now? Gold isn't gospel.
Of course you can, mate. Of course you can. Yeah. I'm not trademarked it yet.
Going back to our snagging list, you said about Levy, the board,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
manager. What else is on the snagging list then?
Oh, but mate, it all comes down
Too
from
long,
that,
isn't
doesn't
it?
it?
The snagging list is
Yeah,
too
that's
long.
it. It all comes down to that. Then obviously getting the right manager in and getting rid of Deadwood and getting rid of some of the what Pochettino did, and people I think underestimate this. We had no, and Cam's mentioned it. We had no right to believe we were going to be a top 14. We had no right to think that. But Pochettino changed that. We were expecting. We went from thinking, hopefully, dreaming about top four, to start of the season thinking, oh, can we make top four this season? He changed the culture. He changed not only the culture within the fan base, but he changed the culture within the team, within the environment. The only people he couldn't change is the board, and
Yeah,
that's why he
that's
fell
what
by the wayside.
ultimately led to his downfall, isn't it? The board.
Exactly, and that we need to rebuild that culture, because at the moment the culture is all about failure, disappointment, bottle jobs. That's our culture at this time of moment, and we need to change that again. And how ironic would it be for Pochettino to come in and do that again? As likely as it would be, but how ironic would it be that Pochettino is a man to bring that culture back?
Maybe.
Cam, do you want Pochettino back?
Like I said, I'd have Pochettino back with a completely, if he had the free reign and a different culture at the club.
Yeah.
The problem at the club is the culture, because the signing of Mourinho to me was, it was just like your Harry Potter example. Wave a magic wand, do nothing on the pitch, do nothing that you can do. The first signing I think he bought him was Gedson Fernandez. We signed Bergwijn, or was it Bergwijn? One of those two. And I mean, really, that was our ambition. So what the problem with Levy at the time was for me was he thought he could just wave a magic wand, put Mourinho in, win a cup, always get a cup, as if it's some kind of God-given right. It's not a God-given right. You've got to have to work hard for it. And they want it all for nothing. And it's the same mentality, isn't it? The pound shop mentality. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't? I don't want to ever go to work, but I want to be paid millions just for the sake of staying at home. Some of my staff might want me to do that, but no one's actually going to really pay me for that, are they?
Yeah. On Levy's point of view, it was a simple case of, well, if Pochettino can do it, Jose can do it. Jose can do it better.
Well, he's always had
he totally underestimated that.
He's always had a man crush on Jose. He tried to get him when he left Porto, didn't he? And then he went to Chelsea,
exactly.
so he thought he was going to get him, but it's a big mistake. And, I think we all agree that Levy's a big problem, but he's part of the root cause, but can't be changed. I don't know.
I want to say one final thing, Ray. I know we're going, and haven't touched on this. It's very important to me, and I'm sure it's important to all of you. But we really have to resist and do whatever we can to make sure we don't get Martinez, because that is not going forward in my books.
I mean, Martinez may be a big problem for us, actually. What is it you don't like about Martinez?
That is not the future.
He won the FA Cup with Wigan, more than Pochettino did.
And then relegated them.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here, guys.
30% win rate within the Premier League. He brought so much toxicity within Everton. Yeah, he won the FA Cup against Man City. One-off game in the final. Anyone could
we couldn't do that.
I know. But there's many teams. Then you could look at every single team who's lost the final.
No, I know. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
So yeah. So for me, and to go from coaching a team with the likes of De Bruyne
and not winning anything.
He can't win anything with Belgium, one of the best teams in the world.
Exactly.
What's he going to do with Tottenham?
And then come into Tottenham and say, right, lad, to top four. No,
so who's the smart money on, before we close then, Bob? Who's the smart money on for the manager?
For me, it's Ten Hag. And about the financial resolve, it would be purely because Ten Hag, and a lot of people think, he's just signed an extension. It's not him who signed the extension. It's his team Ajax who actually triggered the extension. He had to sign a contract before a certain point. If he hadn't, then the first year trigger could have been actioned by Ajax, and that's exactly what they've done. Just means they get a bit more compensation. Hence the reason the financial resolve. I also think if we get Ten Hag in, as in my opinion, I know there's people out there who don't think, yourself included, don't think much of him, but we do need to bring his backroom staff in, and he'll probably demand that. If I come on backroom stuff, and if he's coming from Ajax, he's going to want to be bringing in some of the quality players he's got at Ajax with him as well. So that's the financial resolve in my eyes that they could be referring to.
But what they're waiting for then, because the season's over now. Do you want to appoint somebody as soon as possible?
Oh, of course, they should have signed it on, way before. There should have been something definitive in place a while back. But it's Spurs.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Well,
Cam, who do you want to come in as manager?
I think who I want to come in as manager, who's going to come in as manager, are two different things. As far right now, I'm just on the. I mean, obviously, we'd all want Conte to come in if that would be ever possible.
I would love Conte. I know Bob doesn't like him, but I would love Conte there.
That's going to happen. So my view, and I really think very, very, very much, is that they are going to put somebody in, like probably that old man from Germany. I mean, I don't even want to say. Yeah, I don't care. I would like the Lille manager to come in if that was possible and bring some of his players. But they'll probably bring somebody like that in. But whoever they bring in right now, and again, I go back to what we said right at the beginning, and that was this vacuum, this headless chicken sort of attitude, leaving it for so long. If you knew, how long has Mourinho been gone? He's been gone, what, over a month and a half, maybe?
Yeah.
And we still are no closer or clearer. If they had a short list or somebody that was tenable on that short list, we might have something to talk about. So I think it's going to be a knee-jerk, and it's going to be a desperate plunge for anybody who they think they can take the job and do something with it. And
agreed on that.
Anyone we're going to be happy with.
It's a tough job, yeah.
100%.
All right. Bob, looks like your eyes are having a little squint there, mate. I mean, it's probably too late. Should we wrap it up now, mate?
I'm always like that, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. We'll give it a few more minutes, Bob. Oh, it's a medication.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll give it a few more minutes and then we'll wrap it up. But any final thoughts from you then, Bob, on just generally Spurs, what your hopes are for the next few weeks?
It's clarity and communication. That's all we need. That's all we need. We need clarity from the board or someone out there, just to give some communication to the fans to know which direction we should be aiming at, which direction we will be aiming at, and then everything falls into place. Then Ray, once we know which way they're going, the manager, etc. Like I say, once we know what, if they bring a manager who works with the youth and etc., then we know, right, Ten Hag, etc. Someone who we're going to have no money this summer, and we're going to bring someone in who's going to work with these players. And for me, that's a Potter or a Parker. So we just need clarity and communication. That's all I want for Christmas.
Okay, mate, good. Cam, what's your Christmas wish in May?
Well, what I'd like to see right now, if we're not going to be getting anyone signing any manager immediately within the next 10 days, is some big, not a verbal statement, but some statement for the fans, like selling one of our players, getting some money in, and then saying that we're going to raise it. Get rid of a couple of these dead woods. Just get some money in and say this is, at least that will give us some direction that they mean business. But right now, it's just like I said, a big vacuum. No one doing anything, and a complete mess.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, good night to you. Well, my final thoughts are, it's a tough time to be a Spurs fan at the moment, isn't it, really? I think we need to hang on in there. We're looking for little crumbs of good news that will give us hope moving forward. So just got to watch this space. But guys, before we go, remember to like, comment and subscribe. Remember to go over to Bobspur TV, subscribe to his channel. He's got great content out there, putting out a lot of really good content, a lot of really interesting content. So please do subscribe to Bobspur. Give him all your support. He's doing a great job. We're all a big Spurs.
To us too.
Yeah, subscribe to us too. And also,
don't forget
we're a big Spurs family and we all support each other. So as we say, we finish all the streams, Bob, with a come on you Spurs. So you give us your come on you Spurs.
I've got to be careful.
Come on you Spurs. Okay.
I'll say it with a bit of passion. Come on you Spurs.
Yeah. Come on you Spurs. Cam, I'll give you the final say. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye. Thanks for watching the stream.
Cheers, guys.
Speak soon. Thanks, Bob. All the best, buddy. All the best.
Cheers,
Take care.
mate.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.